Your opinion on this?
Welcome to South Korea, the land of perfect skin, perfect idols, and the K-face. That sounds cool until you realize this place is racist as hell. And it's not just racism. They went from dirt poor to richer than Japan in 30 years. Somewhere between building Samsung and perfecting fried chicken, they decided that looking down on poor people was a sign they'd finally made it. Today, I'm showing you how South Korea
Not
discriminates against people who share their exact DNA, and a lot of others. And before you come at me for being racist, wait for the end.
He's
When
just gonna
South
be
Korea
like,
got
I'm
rich,
Korean.
like really rich, something weird happened. The country started acting like it had just joined an exclusive country club, and immediately became obsessed with keeping out anyone who wasn't wearing the right outfit. After the Korean War, Korea had its rapid economic transformation in the 70s through 90s, also known as the Miracle on the Han River. It took the country from poverty to wealth in a single generation, but that rapid wealth created a mental hierarchy. Rich countries equals modern and superior. Poor countries equals backward and inferior. That's like when your family finally starts earning money and suddenly your mom is judging other people's houses. Because the richest, most powerful countries in the world are mostly Western and white, South Korea started copying their attitudes. South Korea looks up to the US more than any other country in the world. They began seeing themselves as part of the white club of developed nations, even though, they're not white. But it's not only racism. North Korean defectors escape one of the most brutal regimes on earth. They risk execution, torture, and watching their families disappear into labor camps. They make it to South Korea, the promised land, expecting to finally be safe. And then, South Koreans treat them like garbage. 1 in 5 North Korean defectors reports direct discrimination. At work, at school, in dating, in job interviews, some get bullied so badly they stop telling people where they're from. They hide their background, like Filipinos hide their gamer tag. It's hard to distinguish South Koreans from North Koreans until they speak.
Well, not just speaking though, right? This is why skin color also gets discriminated in Korea, right? If you're a little darker, you get joked that you might be North Korean because, oh, you're working in the sun type stuff,
North Koreans speak Korean slightly differently, and South Koreans mock them for it. Many North Koreans train themselves to speak properly just to survive. They literally erase their own voices to avoid discrimination. Imagine having to escape North Korea and then being punished again because of your accent. That's like if I would punish you for not subscribing. And I wouldn't. But please, still consider it. Companies won't hire North Korean defectors or promote them. Employers assume they'll be less productive or loyal. Their unemployment rate is double the national average. Their wages are 16% lower than Korean citizens. These are people who share the same DNA, the same ancestors, the same 5,000 years of history with South Koreans, and South Korea still found a way to rank them as inferior. If it was really about cultural differences, North Koreans would be welcomed. They're the most homogeneous people you could possibly find. But they're poor, and they're from a failed state, so they get discriminated against anyway. The hierarchy goes deep. There's a Korean saying, "Yakuk gangshik," the strong eat the weak, and this holds for all people. South Koreans look down on poor people within their own society as well. Migrants are treated like they're lucky to be there. Poor Koreans, they are seen as failures. This is exactly what Squid Game is all about, showing how society treats the poor like they're disposable, and how the rich just use them for their own benefit. But you can make yourself look more wealthy. The entire Korean beauty industry, worth billions of dollars, is built around this one message: the whiter your skin, the better your life will be. This is happening in most of Asia, but South Korea does perform more plastic surgery per capita than anywhere on Earth. And the most popular treatment is the double eyelid surgery to make eyes look bigger, and rhinoplasty to create taller noses.
Hey, guess who was born with double... Where am I? Guess who was born with double eyelids, motherfuckers? Oh, yes, sir. Imagine...
And this ideal hits women the hardest. Korean women face brutal pressure in job markets and relationships based purely on appearance. Some women report being rejected for jobs because their skin wasn't pale enough. Look at every famous actor, singer, or politician. Almost all of them are pale-skinned. Nobody even pretends otherwise. They just call it improvement. You might have heard someone say that Korea is fundamentally different and that they can't handle diversity. Both progressives and conservatives use this exact same argument, and both sides are using a racist argument without realizing it. This idea about a country being fundamentally incapable of change is not new. Throughout history, governments have claimed that they couldn't change because it's just who they are. But Western countries aren't different.
Listen, this is why I joke about, chat, how all of the most internationally, awarded congratulated, loved films out of South Korea are all critical commentaries as to how shit South Korea is, right? Like, look at Parasite, look at like Squid Game, look at all these things that are all from South Korea that are like some of the most popular things to ever come out of Korea, and they're all talking about how awful it is to live in Korea. But Koreans are like, we're popular, yeah! Like they don't like it doesn't like occur to them that's like, wait a second, these films are saying our country shit. They're like, everybody loves us. Wow. Like they don't like it doesn't occur to them, man. It's like weird. So like I feel like making critical commentary about Korea in Korea seems to be the most pointless fucking effort ever because nobody actually thinks it's criticism. They just think it's art.
Didn't accept immigrants because they woke up one morning and decided to be tolerant. They accepted immigrants because they needed workers, and morality is a lot easier when it's also profitable. Look at Australia. The country kept the White Australia policy until 1973,
What?
only 50 years
It's
ago.
the White
Their
Australia
population was too
policy.
small to survive economically. Suddenly, the entire excuse that Australia couldn't handle non-white immigration just disappeared. Germany had the Holocaust. The United States had Jim Crow laws until 1965. But we don't say these countries are fundamentally incapable of change. We recognize that they changed. They changed through new laws, through court battles, and through generational replacement. And this pattern continues today. Britain voted for Brexit explicitly on anti-immigration sentiment. The entire campaign was about stopping immigration. Yet after the vote, immigration to Britain actually stayed high and even increased. So why do they say South Korea is fundamentally different? Real immigration to South Korea started in the 1990s.
It's because South Korea doesn't have a fucking government. It's just corporations with fucking paid shills.
That's only 30 years of experience. Western countries have had centuries to figure this out. It's like saying a teenager is fundamentally incapable of learning to drive when they've only been
So
practicing
like
for
the
a month.
US? No, but see, here's the thing. Like, largest corporation in the United States and their owned market percentage, right? I think like things like Walmart, yeah, Walmart is one of the biggest, but the amount of market share that Walmart owns is nowhere close to the like staggering amount something like Samsung owns, right? Like, here's the thing, Walmart, how much of the market share does Walmart own in the United States? 6%. Brother, Samsung and no, the point here is, right? Walmart owns 6%. They own 6% of the market, right? So they can fucking lobby for whatever amount that they can try to lobby for, right? But there's still 94% of the market that could push back against this and do other stuff, right? You know what happens? Here's Korea, Samsung. How much of the market share does Samsung own in South Korea? 82% of the fucking smartphone market in South Korea. And that's just smartphones. We're not even talking about fucking refrigerators, TVs, like anything else. And that's the thing. Samsung has so many fucking subsidiaries that they own that are in other fields as well. Like this motherfucker literally owns the entire fucking country, man. So like when this thing that owns such a massive percentage decides to be like, yo, government, we don't want this shit. And the government may be like, oh yeah, okay, all right, we got you. But we'll like make it look like it's like the government doing it, not, you know, Samsung. So it's just that's the fundamental difference here, you know? Like, sure, obviously other countries have really big corporations that lobby for shit too, but it's not even fucking close. It's not even close to the percentages over there, you know?
Now let me show you how deep this
How
discrimination
much is Samsung as a percentage of How much is Samsung and its subsidiaries of the South Korean GDP? I have fucking wording. Samsung Group accounts for almost a quarter of South Korea's entire GDP. One company owns a quarter of a country, of the country. Yeah, that gives you an idea as to how fucked it is over there. Like, that is literally Cyberpunk 2077 fucking Arasaka type shit, okay? Like,
Actually
100%.
goes. Because South Korea has a problem. They need workers, but nobody wants to do the dirty jobs anymore. So they import them from Vietnam, the Philippines, Bangladesh, Nepal, and various African countries. Young men desperate for work, desperate to send money home to their families. What happens next is where the racism stops being subtle. When migrant workers arrive, managers sort them by appearance. Lighter-skinned Asian workers get assigned to better jobs with safer conditions and slightly higher pay.
To be 100% fair, chat, this is not a South Korea only issue. I think this is a lot of East Asia. I can't speak exactly for China, but I know Japan is similar too. You'll notice if you ever travel to Japan, a lot of Southeast Asian people are actually in Japan, and they speak flawless Japanese, but they just like they don't get the same job opportunities as if you were a native Japanese person, you know, just because of their skin color. Even if their Japanese is fucking fluid as shit, right? Which is, you know, like, it's just fucking natural. Like, these people don't think it's racism. They think it's just like natural.
Darker-skinned workers, especially Africans, get the 3D jobs, dirty, dangerous, and difficult, the ones with the highest injury rates. The National Human Rights Commission reports migrant worker industrial accident death rates are 1.7 times higher than Korean nationals, which is a really polite way of saying we let foreign workers die at twice the rate because we don't care. One extreme example is that since 2015, at least 522 Thai workers have died in South Korea, 84% undocumented. One Thai woman worked 15-hour shifts with 1 day off monthly, fearing she'd fall asleep and never awaken. These little ghosts operate outside legal protection. The government knows this is happening. They just don't care enough to change it, because cheap migrant labor keeps construction costs down and keeps farms running at full capacity. South Korean prosperity is literally built on the backs of people.
I wish he would just not just say it's the government. Like, who's paying the government? Who's in the pockets of the government? Like, this all ties back to the corporations.
The country
who gains the most, right? Besides the government, when there's cheap migrant labor that the government can just fucking, you know, not bat an eye at for like abuse. It's literally these fucking corporations.
refuses to treat as fully human. So is it actually changing? Yes, it is. Younger South Koreans show significantly more acceptance of immigrants than older generations. This is generational replacement, the exact same mechanism that transformed attitudes about segregation in America. When South Koreans actually spend time with immigrants and people from different backgrounds, something remarkable happens. Their prejudice drops dramatically. Real friendships and direct interaction change people's minds far more effectively than education campaigns or government mandates. Young South Koreans are actively organizing to fight back. They started the Against Hate Challenge to counter online hate speech and create alternative narratives about immigrants. Civil society is...
Why were they all girls? Why was there not a single man on this panel here? Wait a second. See, because, like, I understand that there might be, but, like, at the same time, Korea has a gender war where girls and guys are literally fucking at each other's throats. So it's like, is this just a subsection of what they're actually fighting for and there's something else? Like,
Civil society is pushing back against the system. Policy changes are beginning to happen. South Korea doesn't have a comprehensive anti-discrimination law yet, which is embarrassing for a developed democracy. However, the government is now discussing new legislation. The language itself is shifting from the phrase illegal immigrant to the phrase undocumented migrant. And these language changes matter because words shape how people think. Of course, not all South Koreans are racist. Many are actively fighting against it. Young people are already different from their parents. The system enables racism, but individuals are pushing back. Hopefully, we will look back at it in a couple of years and see the results of it. If you would like to learn more about racism...
I think the biggest issue... this is a good video. I think the biggest issue with fucking fighting racism in countries like it's just like most Asian countries, I think it's just they're so homogenous. They have very few like mixed culture, and these people don't realize they're being racist because they're raised to think that it's just like, you know, oh, we are just better, or like, you know, they don't know what other races might be thinking because they barely run into them, you know. It's like an oddity. Asian or East Asian? I think just most countries in the world, to be honest. I think if you are a very homogenous society, generally you will probably have built-in prejudices and like discriminations that your culture has that you don't realize you're doing because it's just something innate that you have like cultivated in your country has cultivated for like generations, you know? Now it's Asian, even us Southeast Asian do it. Yeah, that's why I'm saying any homogenous society, I think it runs into that. I think the only societies that are really progressive on that stuff are just like, you know, the societies that are more of a mixing pot that actually have like multiple like cultures mixing in together.